So let's talk about society. That would be very interesting. The notion, the aims, the values of society. So let's go ahead. And the first question. The first question, remember, always is try to understand reality. So try to understand what is a business, what is friendship, what is benevolence. So once again, what is society? Is that society or not? What do you think? Is that a society or not? Yes or no, at least. Sorry, Josephine, I cannot.
I would put a society if where there is at least two people. I can only see one person.
A society, yeah, well, many people will answer that. So let's put another example. But there is another bird, of this. You cannot have a society with a bird. And now, Josephine, what do you think? Now
that is a society.
That
now
is
we have a society. Yes.
3 people and a bird.
Yes.
And if they are just tourists that coincidentally they are walking in the same beach for one day, just one day, and they will go away tomorrow.
They're still a society.
Do you really agree with that? Any other possibility? Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Josephine, by the way. Any other possibility? Who agreed that this is not a society? That should be something else? If they are just walking, are they a society? And tomorrow they will go away to another country, each one to each country. Yeah. So let's put another example.
But
yes,
they have the same purpose.
The same purpose, yeah, could be. And is this a society? Now we have more. We have more. So answer, what would you will say? Is that a society?
I would say it is, because they look to be together, and there's a kind of a link among them. They have a link among them, so it's a society, I can say.
Well, okay, perfect.
They have a purpose. They are not just there because you see they are communicating.
Yeah, in this case is not the previous case that they are just walking and they appear. I agree. So
should a society be ordered?
Order, there is no order here. Yes, that is interesting. Explain a little, Nicholas.
Yeah, because I thought if a society really is an order, is a group of people who are living or staying together in an orderly manner, then this is not orderly. So to me, it's not a society.
It's not a society. So, and what kind of order you will ask for?
Well, being in a more or less ordered community.
But they are not fighting here. They are not fighting. There's order.
There is order.
Well, they have to be ordered.
Which kind of order?
I am not seeing chaos. I am seeing people.
That is a good point of view. There is no chaos.
And plus, a society is order. A society is just a group of people, even if they have chaos.
Okay, so that is the even if there is chaos, yeah.
Even if there is chaos.
Let's ask about society. What we need? The material cost seems to be so easy. What we need for a society?
People together.
Perfect. People together. What kind of together? That could be another cause, not the form.
Then a purpose.
A purpose also could be, but purpose is a final cause. A purpose is a final cause. So we need try to solve the same thing with the 4 causes methodology. That is just a methodology. So there could be many ends, of course. Julius, I agree with that. No, there could be, but normally, how we call that? In general, using a technical word to the final cause. They are, you can see there a lot of people talking, at least talking, and obviously not killing each other. No, it's not a suicide club.
Some are taking pictures, look like.
Yeah, they are enjoying nature. No?
Yeah.
So, what do you call that? So they have some purpose here. As you can see, all of them are here for one specific purpose: to enjoy nature, to take photos, to go to vacations. Could be is one purpose. I will call that with one technical word that is just general: relaxation, and another more. It was in the chat also. it looks like there is a common interest among almost those guys on that world. The material cause is the subjects that makes up each society. Peoples also. The big societies will have peoples or nations. Big societies will have many nations in that society. And also the goods. And don't forget, the bird was important. At the end of the day, the bird, water, and land is also part of the material code, because we are not angels, we are human beings. We have to be in one place. And the goods that they actually have in common. So there is something that they have in common. No? The final course, all these kind of things, relaxation, take photos, and many other things, is the common good, the good of all of them, the good of all of them. At least the thing that Josephine said, no, there is no chaos, there is peace. Yeah, I agree that there is peace. They are not fighting each other. No, and to have peace is a value, is a good, and is part of the common good. Is part of the common good. Was the only part of the common good that Booker remembered yesterday with order. order is, at least there is no chaos. A little. Yeah, probably there could be many other things. Here are many other things. It's not just order and peace. It's also relaxation with a beautiful place to take photos. Or there is something more than order, something more than a little, not chaos at least. The agent cause. The agent cause is the founders of the society. Could be many. The historical decisions, why here you have a society here in Kenya? Well, because there were some founders of Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta, probably could be part of the region, and many others. As Consensual Society was founded by the founders of the company, and so on, or the society of one tribe, because there was a family first, or so on. So they shaped each society, and the coexistence of the individual that generates social life. So you can see two kinds of wills. First, the will of all of these guys that one day they decide, let's go to that island, Aruba, to have fun. Well, it's a little society for one purpose, to have fun, of many people around the world that one day, by one decision, because they didn't born there, as you can see. They were not born there. No. When both. So it's an act of the will in this case, no? Yeah, but also if they remain there, it's because they want, and they are talking each other. No? They are sharing good anecdotes, good stories, and that is a kind of society, a very small one probably. Finally, the formal cause, the specific order of society, the bonds, what kind of bonds they have. In this case, what kind of bonds? Do they have bonds or not? What do you think? The relationship between members. What do you think? Do they have bonds? We so many.
Yes, they look like, yeah.
Answer,
So
yes.
they are I think they have bonds because they are some are together and the kind of harmonious relationship, so they are united in a certain sense.
Yeah. And do they have legal bonds? Legal, no. But what kind of bonds? Friendship. They are developing at the very beginning, many of them, but probably there could be a family, yes. But if not, at least they trust each other, and that's why they are together. And probably a kind of benevolent, well, let's help me to take this photo. So yeah, at the beginning of friendship or developing more and more friendship. So there are bonds that are not necessarily legal. These are not political bonds. We will talk about tomorrow the political bonds. What kind of bonds can be politically? The nature could be political. Family probably could be another, cultural or any other nature. So perfect. Let's go ahead with another question. Can you guess any social principle? Can you guess any social principle? We already mentioned some of them. I don't know if you can imagine or remember. Try to think about that.
Benevolence.
Benevolence? Well, perfect, could be. The principles of the benevolence. Any other? Remember the thing that we talked about yesterday? Yesterday we say every interpersonal relationship has some principle. So this is
Participation.
Sorry?
The principle of participation.
Participation, very good. They are participating in friendship, probably. Which other? Unity.
Solidarity.
Solidarity. Common good, competence, unity, pluralism.
Social unity.
Yeah, exactly. All of them, all of the principles of the interpersonal relationship you can apply here to any society. Obviously, mutandis, changing what you should change. Also, the principle of pro-societies, that is the incorporate law that is quite interesting. Freedom, yeah, also. Because you see, a society is a good thing. So if we see a good thing, the first principle, good should be done pro-society in the legal terms, at least, no? Principle. And that have a lot of application. For example, if you ask in one state to constitute some company, well, pro-societies, they should approve even if they have doubts. Okay. In case of that, the authority will act in favor of the right of association, not the contrary, the right of the associates, the society. And this is clear in the human rights case laws around the world. The rights of, if there is an doubt, well, let's protect the association and not to ban or to destroy the principle of freedom. When someone of you put freedom, self-determination and independence. And that's why today is very renowned right, self-determination of the peoples of everyone. No? They can decide what they want. of the countries, the self-determination of any kind of society. But you can see that one thing is the sovereignty of the state, and another the self-determination of the peoples or the civil society of that state. That is a little is not the same. No, the state can, because the state many times is just the authorities. It's the whole society that has the right to self-determination. Every society have the right to determine itself. Self-determination is a right to development. And it's not just to be another country, but it's also, well, to have our own rules, to develop our culture in the way that we understand that is the best one, and many other things, customs, tradition, practices, decisions, and so on. Social pluralism, also. Social pluralism. Well, we are so different, so we have to protect everyone. Yeah, a society, if we have two individuals, there are things that we can share that are common, and others that are quite different. So every society should protect also the individual, the things that are not against the society, against human values, and many other things. That is the idea. So let's go ahead once again, a little zoom to see our people a little better, and we can ask another question. No? How many types of society can be? How many types? This is a systematic question. With the systematic approach now, we will say first, when I ask for how many types, probably there could be 100 of way of classifying things, no? Depending on the material cause. We already said the people, no? There could be societies of persons, of peoples, and that's why it could be many peoples, different as a community. I mean, of society of nations. The United Nations is a society of nations. United Nations. That's why, or communities, the communities of people of Kenya, for example, or mix. No? There could be a mix of all of them, depending on the formal cause, the bonds. Remember, formal is the bonds here. Natural bonds, for example, a tribe, clan, or cultural bonds. No? We are the followers of Elvis Presley. Yeah, that is cultural, it's preference. No? There could be also bonds related to one matter, economical, political, sports. No? Of this party, of this other, or more or less temporary bonds. The people that are here in this island right now, we are a society. The people of your classroom is a little society, but a temporal one. So let's put now again the question that we put with that bird. You remember that bird? It was flying in our sky. How many types of societies can be? Well, once again, it seems that probably this is a little kind of society that Josephine and many others have the reason. No? So depending on the final cause, there could be society for various purposes, also for tourism, and you find three guys. Well, once again, now with a deeper understanding, we will say yes, probably it's at least at the beginning. No? We have the four causes, no? The aim of the people, no? That want to be there, the peoples, and also some common good. That is many things, as you can see. No? They are working towards that boat. Probably they want to go. So there are many things. No? Depending on the agent cause, the creation of the society. There are societies founded by consensus, by the will. the consensual societies. Others instituted by a natural or historical fact, not your family. Your family and your siblings and well, your family-in-law. So this more or less is will, but not just only will, born and cultural and reason. So there could be many kind of societies depending on the agent cause. Even well, societies to which one belongs by a voluntary act or by a fact or circumstances. And finally, we have one. We are now again here, now in the first one. Is this a society? Well, there is a kind of fictional society in many places. No? In corporate law, they will say there are some societies founded just by one guy because he wants to create a company, a corporation, an entity, an institution that will have rights and duties, and many people will consider that a society because potentially this society can have many members, potentially, but at the very beginning it's just one. So as we see, all the photos that I showed for me can be a society. That is interesting. So, with that, we have at least the notion of society. So let's go ahead with consensual societies. Okay, any question about the notion of society? You can see, by the way, you have everything written in the e-learning platform. You should read that before answering the quizzes, because if not, you will have a little problems, some problems answering the quizzes. Multiple choice, but okay. So let's go ahead if there is no question, comment, suggestion, feeling. Consensual societies. Don't you know what is this? No, a new thing. No one of you know what is this building? It's a gorgeous one.
The Khalifa building in Dubai or Qatar, I don't.
And why is so famous?
It's the tallest building in the world.
The tallest building in the world, which is in Dubai.
Perfect. This is the tallest. It's incredible. If you compare with the other buildings, the smallest one, but you say, wow, it's incredible how people, yeah, very good, Angela and everyone, yeah. It's almost a kilometer high, so this is tall. Burj Khalifa in Dubai has been the tallest for more than 10 years. It's incredible still now, so it is not so easy. So there we will talk about these kind of societies that are created by the will of the people. So and specifically now about business societies. So we can ask, well, the enterprise is a consensual society. It's a consensual society for one specific purpose. Can be constituted as a consensual society in order to contribute and generate wealth and participate in the benefits in a fair and proportionate way. That is interesting. No? Many people will say, well, who are the partners of this society? Well, the ones who has shares, who share shares, and who are the owners of the society. But not only them. Properly and specifically from a moral and philosophical point of view, the workers are also part of the society. They are working for the same aim. This is the very interesting approach. Workers are working for the same aim. When for example, if you're hired in one company, myself in this university, I'm supporting this university. I am working for the aims of this university, and I choose this one. I chosen this one and not another because I believe in this and so on. It's important because this is the main reason of why we are here, and as well as you in your place of work. What kind of rights of this associates we can discover here? So many of them. Well, I will mention some of them. For example, remain in the association in the agreed terms. There is an agreement to be part here of also a club or whatever. I have the right according to the agreement. No, this right to be associated is also the right not to be. I can go away, but according to the agreements which follow in one specific process. To contribute, also to contribute is a right and a duty, no? In the way that is what it was explained, was agreed to the enterprise in the way defined by the law, also by the law or by the agreement to obtain the profits, benefits, and business fruits. That is also to decide on the destination of the enterprise according to the social party. That's one again. So obviously, in this, if the social pact say, well, this is for one purpose, and everyone is agreeing the same purpose, you cannot change the purpose because you want. But yes, and to know the status on their enterprise and its finances. Well, to have access many times is important. If you are part of that society specifically, no? It can be different according to which kind of society, according to the law, but more or less, little by little. Normally, these kind of things are more transparent, little by little, in the last century. I mean, so the principle of transparency. Obviously, is not the same a private society that is private, that has the right to privacy deeper than a public society. I mean, an institution, a public institution, that there will be people with some purpose together. So there is a kind of society in each public institution. The public is public, and it means that they should be transparent. Why? Because in a democracy and in many other forms of government, people can ask to control the public things. So if they can control, and that is the understanding of democracy, they should know. Nobody can control things that they don't know. So that is the idea, always. And that's why there is a big movement of transparency today around the world. And there are many acts of, for example, the federal of information, the FOIA Act, that allows any citizen to ask for information to the government of the United States. And I think that here you have something else and around the world. But 20 years ago, these kind of laws were not so known. And 50 years ago, before Vietnam specifically, almost there was no one. Just two in Switzerland and another in another place. But now the principle of transparency is a great trump of activism, and I will say a good one around the world. This is one society. So we have a little more here. The legal regulation of business and enterprises. So the end of the regulation is, well, what is the aim of the legislator when they regulate business? What is the aim? What should be the aim? To control everything, to ban everything? It seems not. We say that people have freedom for anything, also for business. Well, we should agree that we have to protect, respect, and develop that freedom if we are the authority. If we are the authority. Yeah. In many cases are not consensual, yes. Obviously, we have to put a regulation when we see that there are problems, and to avoid that problem. But the most important purpose is not to, once again, it's not to control everything. The control by the control, it makes no sense. Why do you want to control it? This is superficial. It is not also the main purpose of corporate law to resolve problems. No. There could be some higher. I mean, to promote freedom could be one. To promote welfare could be one. It makes no sense, for example, to have a lot of bureaucracy and to wait 1, 2, 3 years to approve a new company. Why? What kind of things do you want? To give salaries to the public officers because they need salaries? No, it makes no sense. No. So that is important. Obviously, if there are problems, we have to solve them. But first, it should be to protect people and welfare, and also, well, we will see that there could be problems with workers, and that's why there is the work law. But the work law is one part. The aims of corporate law should be another. So, well, the legislator can dictate corporate law to design multiple signs of business. That is good to know. Huh? There are many places that there is just one possibility of companies, and it restricts freedom. It restricts freedom a lot. If you have just one possibility, you will say, well, I will choose that. And probably there are many problems. No? There are many states that you have a lot of flexibility of doing many things. With a lot of flexibility, with a lot of freedom, well, there could be many ways to go against the law. But there could be also many solutions. No? So if you have one possibility, well, you are not so free. If you have 10 possibilities, you are more free at least. Also in corporate law. So if we want to design, we are a parliamentarian, for example, corporate law, it's good to put many possibilities, and then to see what is the problem and to solve them. But let's allow freedom to people, no? If you say no, there is just one party and you should be in that party, and if you're not part of the party of the government, well, so you have freedom of association. Probably not so much. Not so much. Yeah, obviously, you agree with the party, you have freedom. But if not, you have no freedom at all. So create possibilities and facilities is good. No? To specify how the members will respond with their patrimony or not, or what kind of contributions, what is the role of the employees, probably and the employers, both, how they can have part of the utilities. That is the typical thing. But to put many possibilities is good. To establish a minimum framework of regulation and many things that you know. Well, you can read that later. I just want to show this map around the world to have more or less one idea of the time required to start a business around the world. So there are places that is so easy. In Canada, for example, in Canada, you fill a form and tomorrow you will have a company. tomorrow, no? Why that amount of bureaucracy to present something and to wait, and they will say no, because no. Well, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's better to, if they are doing something wrong, to control later, that from the very beginning to see that no, if you don't show me the money, I will not approve you. That is another condition in many places in the world. Why? Why I have to show you the money and to put in a specific bank, and not could be any bank? No, in this bank. Why there are so many ridiculous requirements in corporate law today around the world. So in some places you can wait a year, no, and you have no company at all. Well, Brazil is not in the best places. No? Here in Africa, you have better places. Kenya is in the middle. No? It said that the fastest procedure could be in 25 days, well, between 25 and 50, according to this map. So why we don't follow Canada or more or less Australia? But I don't know, there are many possibilities. My country is exactly the same as Kenya. As you can see, here is my country, this is smallest one, Ecuador, here is Colombia, the top, and the bottom, Peru, here Brazil. I think that these kind of things we are very similar. We are very similar. Well, that is a good, an interesting approach. No, and this is an example that I think that is good. The methodology that we are using. No, what we are seeking. The same idea of yesterday and before yesterday. If we are the parliamentarians and we are designing a policy, a law, an act, or whatever you want, but what it really matters here? Forget about the details first. Forget about the details, what it really matters, and let's try to promote that. Then, if there is some problems, we will solve them, of course. But what really matters? Because we can solve many details, many particular cases, and to create things that nobody want to live there. Yeah. So that is interesting as an approach, a governance approach. Yes. Okay. So let's talk about another kind of society. Unions that are around the world. What we will say, what we can say many things. What are unions for? First question, what are unions for? What do you think?
Buka. I don't know. It's everybody knows the role of the union is to fight for the rights of the workers.
I will say that I think, obviously you can think whatever you want, that you're right, but you're incomplete. Obviously, I can be wrong. Obviously, I can be wrong. I know that I have limits, but I will say that is something more. I will say that is something more. Remember, what it really matters? The common good, I mean, the mean of everyone. And I will say, obviously, they are together for protect the rights of the workers, and that's true, and that is the immediate aim. But they are part of a company normally, no? Or a sector, or a country, well, in some case. But so they are trying, that part of the common good is not just to fight against the one who has the power, because they are oppressing us. No. It's also to promote the business, because if there is an union of a business, the common good, that the part of the workers, no, is to promote the business. And if they are part of a sector of society, for example, the car industry, well, to create a very strong car industry in such a way that there will be a lot of welfare here in this sector, it will be good for the employees and the employers, for both, for everyone. That is deeper. Not this just to fight against we are not fighting against God that has a lot of resources. No, it's also for the good. So I say I'm complete but not wrong, because we should see higher. The example that I put yesterday or before yesterday of Detroit. Detroit was a great state with a lot of industry of cars, but little by little unions put one law, another law, and the welfare of the workers was increased. But at one point, they realized that they were selling cars so expensive. So that was the reason that China grew immediately. And China go into the United States and Japan and many other companies, and they invite and they broke those companies of Detroit. So at the end of the day, you see now, well, how are the same families? Well, the welfare of the same families is not so good, because all the industry was away from Detroit. The car industry in the United States is not as well as some years ago, because China and other countries invaded. It was so expensive. So yeah, it's to fight and to try to protect the rights of the individuals, but not just protection. Just create welfare. Create welfare also for the industry, also for the company. They are part of the company, most of the unions. They are part. And the common good it means also the common good of the company. It's not just to increase and forget about that we are living in a company. No, it is a little more. No? So, for those who work in enterprise, to defend their interest and for the better achievement of the business goals, because they are working in a business. They are working. They have to consider that as part of them. That is interesting. Not just as a source of a salary. This is a very flat point of view. No, I just will fight for my salary. No. It's good to put higher goals every time, as high as we can. And well, let's go to another question. Can unions collaborate on politics? This is a tricky question. What unions are for, once again? What unions are for? What unions are for?
Yes, they can collaborate on politics, in my opinion.
Yeah. What unions are for? So imagine this. Josephine, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to find out whether when you talk about unions, because I know this one is in relation to consensual, we call them consensual societies. Now we have political unions, we have economic unions. Do those really fall here, or that is a different category?
Yeah, it's a consensual, because obviously if you impose, that is not, well, that is the problem in some places, that you by law are part of this union. By law, this union is the union of the government, approved by the government. So, and it's a political party also, everything by law. So the only thing that don't matter is the individual will. So what it represents is a structure of power created by the government without any purpose, according to my, I mean, not with the purpose of there is no, without representation. If this by law, who represents? No, is the law says you should vote for this guy, and if not, you are not part of anything. But that is not representative according to my point of view. I don't know, we can, and I know that I can be wrong. So, but in any case, the union, to protect the union of a company, in a company could be, for example, if I'm going to work in one company that is a car industry because I'm an engineer, I can be from the Marxist party without any problem. And in front of me, precisely from the other party. And so there could be people from very different parties. And what is the union for? Well, to protect the individual's rights in this company and to promote the works in this company, and also, well, the whole industry. But it's not to go to fight on politics and say what will happen. Normally, we'll say, well, in politics we can also protect the rights of the workers, and that is right. But if you put one deputy in the parliament, what will happen? He will need to vote about many other laws that probably are not. So I'm the Marxist, I will agree. But the other that is precisely in another party or that is neutral in this thing, they will say, well, this represents all the works. No, it's not representative of this guy in ecological matters, in environmental law. They are not representing them in environmental law. Okay, Booker, yes.
The question I had asked before in class, and actually you had answered it, that indeed, when it comes to common good, there is hierarchy of common good. So if you talk of societies, whether they are unions or they are religious societies, then in my own interpretation, I see the body politic as the one that represents the highest common good in the society. So in the event that the unions cannot collaborate on political matters, then they are only limiting themselves on issues to do with economism, which is affected by the mega common good, which is on the body politic. So that is where I come from when I said that unions should not limit themselves to economism, because the relationship between the union, the workers and the business owners are not only in the context of economism, but also there is a very, if you look at the business leaders are always able to legislations, especially where you have a stronger lobby group, like particularly the United States of America. If you look at it that way, then if you limit unions to only issues to do with workers' rights and advancement of businesses, then indeed, then it compromises on the greater common good that I call in the body politic.
Yeah, but I will say there are many ways to contribute for the common good of the company, the sector, and the country. But when we are talking about politics, this is a very specific thing, no? Because specifically in a democracy, so it means that the one that is there is because there are many people that believes in that guy and they put their vote. So I will advocate for freedom here, freedom to be in one union or not to be. I think that is interesting. And the union purpose is not to fight and to put deputies and to put parliamentarians. No, because if you put a parliamentarian, probably could be related to protect some some rights works. But there are many other issues that will appear in the parliamentary environmental law. Corporate will be related, but I know very technical things, no? So at least I don't believe that. And normally I see in many countries that when unions has a political party, it's just one party, but the workers they have a lot of very different political point of view. And if you use one, for example, one institution, another that could be my club of football. My club of football, we want to defend the sports rights, no? And I, as the president of the club of football, and I will go against the president who, because of who, it's not related, the club of football with politics. It is what for one specific purpose. We want to play fair and to many others, but it's not related. And the same with many other institutions. We should ask what these institutions are for. Because if not, the smartest one will have the power and will go and will promote not the interest of the people that were in the club, that could be very different of football, but his own interest. That is my point of view. But in any case, I understand that we have many points of view, and it's good to have.
Comes on the exams. Can unions collaborate on politics? In case this question comes on the examination, can unions collaborate on politics? Should I answer it in your opinion, or I could debate for my own opinion?
So I always repeat this because many things people will be, no, this is against my. I strongly suggest to try to put the things that we say, and immediately to go, I don't believe in that. I agree absolutely in the contrary, and for me it's perfect. That answer will be perfect. But at least try to understand myself, no? So that is the also an exercise that is good. Try to understand the others. You can say the professor, the reading or the video say that, but I don't believe it, it's absolutely wrong. And I will be so happy with that answer. But in any case, I think that there will be not that problem. Okay. Okay. Well, once again, here, as in everywhere, I will advocate as much freedom as possible for everyone, as possible. Correcting the problems always, no? So, 15 minutes more. Can syndication be imposed? Normally, the standard in human rights is no. We will talk about this. I will say, I will go ahead because there are many other things here. But normally the standard in human rights is so clear now that anyone can impose. It's one not to be in one union, they have absolutely that right. Let's go to another, professional communities. This is a little different. The communities of lawyers, the communities of, I don't know, of journalists. Do you think that an state can put as a condition, if you want to exercise your profession, you should be in the bar, or you should be registered here, I will control yourself, because every it's a kind of control. What do you think? Can the state ask for a register or to be part of one community, professional community, I mean, to exercise the profession? Yes? Okay. Leon.
Yes, for purposes of standardization, yes. And for quality control and so on, yes, it's important so that the products can be accepted globally. If there's an opportunity for export, there is also need for the communities themselves to interact with each other or amongst themselves in order to improve or advance the knowledge that they have. This is in line with the common good and a goal of humanity for the search of intelligence and knowledge. I think another reason why the state would ask for this to be possible is so that they can also find out, it's an evaluation process to find out how many of these people do we have and what do we need to do in order to create
For example, do you really believe that, for example, for exercise as a painter or as an artist, you cannot paint anything before you are registered and you are accepted in one professional community? Can the state ask that for?
For certain professions, there are certain standards that need to be met and followed up with.
Artist, you are an artist. You are a cook.
Yes, but you see, for me as a cook, I need to have I need to belong to I need to consistently go for health checkups. I need to consistently be with county health officials.
So you will agree that
sort of community that
so you will agree that no cook can be in Kenya without registering in a professional community.
You cannot operate as a chef in this country or a cook without a food handler certificate. So you must register.
And the same for journalists.
Indeed. For a journalist, they do not have, they can say that, yeah, I'm a journalist, I have this blog and whatever. However, they need to,
I don't know if they have or not. What is your opinion? It's good to ask for as a compulsory thing.
Yes, so for purposes of, say, tax collection and so on, that's the state runs these professional.
But what is the aim here? Tax collection is the aim here. So I put exactly this case of the journalist because it was considered in one human rights court. Costa Rica put, if you want to exercise journalism, you have to be part of one professional community, and only one possibility is the state community. So in this way, the state can control media. Well, look that media, the state can control media by this association, and they will put the people. So the Human Rights Court of precisely Costa Rica, but it's the whole America, South America, Latin America, said no, that is not that is against human rights. That is against communication, because everyone has the right to communicate. Imagine that you cannot put a news in a blog because you are not registered. You cannot cook because you are not registered. You say no, but we're a professional. So just for your family, and yeah, once again, I will advocate here for freedom. I will advocate for freedom. You say instead of that, there could be another possibility. I will never put for art. Anyone can express whatever they want to dance in one way or another. Well, I know with us dancers to register for the quality of dancing, for the common good of dancing in a very good way. No. Normally, if you create a center of powers, you will create center of control of people that you will create very easy bribes, corruption. Yeah. You say you have to fulfill this long process, and you have to ask the permission here, in 10 places to 10 people. Well, there are 10 opportunities to someone asking for something. So I will advocate for freedom. Instead of that, it's quite different. If we are dealing with coronavirus, and with the life of people, you have here to assure certain standards. And more or less, that is the idea of the judgment of Costa Rica. There could be, for some professions, in order to secure some things that are at risk, But what kind of things are at risk on dancing, on journalism? Freedom of expression. Well, freedom of expression is very good to have the opportunity to say whatever we think on lectures or outside. So this is a good thing, and especially on media. That is specifically so. But here we are dealing with human lives, so it's good to ask for the people some levels of. There are so many ways of doing that, but one way that could be accepted is asking for the affiliation to one entity, and probably it's good not to have just one entity that have the control of everything, because the president of that entity immediately will go to politics and to say, I represent the whole community of doctors in my country, and that's false. And that's false. He don't represent the whole community of the doctors. The most typical thing is the whole community of lawyers I represent, and that's false. And he's not representing. There are many lawyers that don't think exactly in the same way that, and probably many times most of the lawyers are against that the president is, well, there are many cases around the world. Let's talk about now political parties. Political parties have this. Is good to have? Yes, of course. Kelsen will say it's the only way that democracy can work. I will not say the only, because individuals can also matters. No, the individual, not also the people. But it's good. It's good. What parties are for defending specific things that they believe that are right. The mission, security, and others will say environment, green parties, no? And others say workers' rights, red parties, and others will say, well, welfare on society, any party that you can imagine, there could be. And this is quite interesting to study a little this, because they have some ideology, and it's good. And it's good to recognize this, no? I really believe more in people that to say, I'm from this party and from that point of view, that is an honest guy, and we need honestly. There are those who don't know, and there are others that try to hide their beliefs, and that is not so good. I think that is not so honest. So once again, here, freedom to follow the people that I share ideas, affiliation to party, freedom for affiliation, freedom to be there, and to when they say I don't agree anymore, I will be outside, because many times I have freedom to come in and not to go out. Freedom for both things. Now it's the human rights standard, no? And also freedom of association. It means freedom of association for one specific purpose. My ideology is this, I'm this, I will share, I will create a big union to fight against whatever you want. And that's good, to allow that freedom of association. And finally, well, also the freedom of belief internal of the party in the things that are not the ideology. For example, if I'm a capitalist, yeah, I really believe in capitalism, and I join another, and we found the Blue Party. Well, the president of that party cannot impose me to believe on environmental law, because I really want many other things. Cannot impose me now. Now we all here we will be vegetarians, no, of vegans. No, I really like cuckoo. So why you are imposing me? We are here for another purpose, not for avoid killing of animals. No, I really like cuckoo. So give ideology. If we are here for one purpose, that is the purpose. So there are many societies that shares idea, and you have to respect that. And it could be political parties, media. There are media for one specific to promote environment, and that's good. That's good. But also religious groups, they are united for one specific thing. We believe that there is just one God, and we are part of God, and everything is God. Well, yeah, that is the East, some of the Oriental East religions, and good. And also clubs, no, and also many educational parish institutions. And the idea here is that, once again, you cannot impose only the thing that we agree, that we are here because that. But in other things, freedom. Nowadays, this is so clear in political electoral law, but it's not that clear in educative institutions. Many times, the government in many places around the world are asking for, well, you have to teach exactly this because I'm the one who says that what you should know. And why? Because they are together in this school for one specific point of view. We want to teach Islam here, Quran here. You cannot impose to teach another thing here. Really. So this is the same respect to political parties, to any institution that shares idea. That is the thing that freedom, this exactly, freedom to fund, freedom to have, to join together, to have an association, and freedom to leave that association also. And freedom, and on the other hand, if there is one guy that don't want this idea, well, he can work in another place. Where you have obviously what different is he want to give an opinion in a very different thing, or he should have the freedom. But we have to respect the ideologies of each party, of each media, of each the thing that they believe. Well, finally, there are many other associations, big clubs, fraternities, and this kind of thing that they are there for one specific purpose. Which purpose? In this case, swimming. Beautiful to swim. No, to swim. It's impossible to here in many rivers because crocodiles, but it's possible in many other places, Mombasa, obviously. Well, that is a good purpose. But once again, what is the purpose of this? Once again, if the purpose is because we want to promote swimming, well, we cannot create a center of power to give the president the whole possibility of represent one group and say whatever they want anywhere, because they don't represent just for one specific thing. So I will not put. Oh well, I will finish this with this video. Sorry, it's just a small one.
Yeah, that just happened. Yes, it did. Yes. Yes! 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 We did it! Yes, we did it! Oh, we did it! Okay, see you, bud. Later.
Honey, who was that?
Who, that guy? I don't know.
Get caught up in the excitement.
I don't know. Many people in so many places, they don't know what they are. That's good. To what is this society for? And let's try to fight for that. That probably could be a good thing. what to focus, what really matters to here. Well, probably is the main idea of today's lecture.